Hey everybody, I'm meteorologist Gavin Sandel. Hurricanes that stay well away from any land, they're usually considered to be harmless. However, there's usually one silent threat felt all across the East Coast. These are called rip currents, which can move even the strongest swimmers out over open water. So how do rip currents form, and how does Hurricane Erin, currently spinning in the Atlantic, have a part? So what I'm going to show you right now is how rip currents form. And you can see ocean water moving onto land. And really, the basis of how we get waves is wind. And if, let's say, it's just a calm day, you're not going to get waves. So the addition of wind moving over waves gets you waves. So when you have strong winds that push ocean waters to the shore, then you have a lot of flow between the water going up, breaking, and then going down back into the water. So after these waves break, they find what's called the path of least resistance. So that could be in between any sandbars or between jetties or objects. And what ends up happening in some cases, they can form a fast, narrow current in between those things and cause what's called rip currents in our area. And these can go very, very quickly. 5 miles an hour doesn't sound like a lot, but that's actually faster than any Olympic swimmer can do. So what I'm going to show you now is a typical influence over the ocean. And typically what we see is a high pressure called a Bermuda high that's parked over here. And high pressures usually tend to good weather, which means there's not too much wind that occurs. So now let's flip this over to what goes on in a tropical environment. And you can see a hurricane spinning off the coast of Bermuda right now, winds way more high than typical. And what this means, the winds extend to the coast, and higher coastal winds means higher waves and more water to cycle along the coastline. And that, just what I explained, is the basis for more rip currents and stronger rip currents to form. So even if you have a hurricane well off the coast, these winds go way far. So you actually, in this case for Erin, have warnings that go from Florida, the Atlantic coast of Florida, all the way up to the Delmarva Peninsula, up to New Jersey, and actually my hometown of Long Island, New York, even though this is way far away, about 1,000 miles away. So now I taught you what a rip current is, and this is what to do in case you get caught in a rip current. Here's a diagram right here of what it shows. It's a very thin, narrow, skinny thing. So if you get swept out of it, do not fight that current because you will get overpowered by the current. The best thing to do is to swim parallel to shore, and then once you feel yourself not getting pulled out, then it's safe to go back into shore. But it is interesting because you do see rip currents across a lot of the Atlantic coast, and while Erin won't affect the waters in our neck of the woods, it is still possible for rip currents to form in the Great Lakes for the same reasons, interesting enough. For Weather 101, I'm Gavin Sandel.